back. Lou Harty from 21st Century TV. I'm joined with Jamie McIntyre, and we've just been speaking about the Financial Education Summit with Arnold Schwarzenegger coming over, and also Jamie's latest book, 100 Lessons That We Can Learn from Arnold. So Jamie, we've spoken about Arnold. What other books have you've got coming up?
Well, I'm busy at the moment. Almost finished a book which is about an amazing lady that's probably the most powerful, influential woman on the planet. She's a billionaire also, and she's an inspiration to millions and millions of fans around the world. And that, of course, is Oprah. So lessons the world can learn from Oprah. It will be out shortly. As usual, we always, our 21st Century subscribers, we make it available for free. Our books for X amount of time, so they'll be able to get access to that before it goes on sale in bookstores.
So that'll be great. Keep an eye out for that one, because I think that one will probably pull down the bandwidth in the company. People downloading Oprah's book.
Yeah, Oprah has, as we all know, has a massive following. I think she inspires not just women, but also men. I've seen her as a role model. And I think she's very inspirational, and that book will be very popular, and it would be great to get her out to Australia sometime.
Well, I know personally that she's a great role model and mentor from me, from even when she started in radio when she was young. If you look at some of the old footage to what she's achieved now, it is unbelievable what a black woman in America back in those days has achieved and reaching.
Yeah, and I think because you can tell with Oprah she's quite a spiritual person, so people sense that.
Yes.
And she comes from the heart, and she's very authentic, and I think that's people realize in life, if you just be yourself. And I guess you need to develop confidence, especially I know when I was younger, you're trying to overcompensate and perhaps be someone that you're not. And when you get comfortable just being yourself and being authentic, I mean, I met George Clooney last year, and George is another, I guess, a role model of mine. I always thought he's pretty cool and charming. And George, I was really impressed, with George, because he could walk into a party or into a room of people. He's just himself. He's quite funny, down to earth, but he's not pretentious. He's not up himself, and that's what makes people attracted to someone, is that charisma of just being real. What I guess is a turn off with people is that when they're making out they're someone they're not, they're pretentious, or which really comes from insecurity. And that people aren't attracted to that. So I think the more people can realise just to be themselves, and I guess that's why Australians are considered very popular around the world, and we go overseas, especially in Hollywood and stuff, is that people find us refreshing because we're very grounded, very down to earth, and we tell it how it is generally.
Kiwis are the same.
Yes, it's true. That's why we adopt a lot of the Kiwis to Australia. Okay,
so what I want to talk about is your businesses. Now, you've got we're here in the Melbourne office with Jamie, and just out behind that door is your marketing department. So when we're looking at generating profits or getting more clients, how important, or what style of marketing strategy do you implement within 21st Century?
Yeah, well, it's over 15 years it's changed. Obviously we have a lot of different companies, in the group, so there's different marketing subject to the industry we're in, etc. But there's a lot of generic principles that carry across everything. I'm very big, I believe the more you educate your customers, whatever industry you're in, the more you educate, the less you have to sell. The less you educate, the more that you have to sell. And people really don't like to be sold. None of us like to be sold. So what we like to be is educated about the benefits of a product or service, and then we can make up our own mind. And I mean, if you look at Apple as an example, you go into an Apple store, you have to beg almost to get a salesperson to sell you something, because they're not really salespeople. They are product focused and education focused. So they educate you about the product. It's a product driven company. So people love the product, and they've got queues at the stores and the great customer service. There's no cash registers, because they're not designed to, like most retail outlets, to try and get a sale. They're designed to provide a great experience, to educate their customers about their products and services, and the sale takes care of itself. So Apple has reshaped retail. Retailers complaining it's difficult conditions. Well, it's not difficult for Apple. Why do Apple stores outsell even JB, Hi-Fi, etc., 20, 30 times to one? It's because of outstanding customer service, but very product-focused marketing.
And like your book, and also like your financial education DVD, people watch that or read that, and you know, they make their own decision. So really the phone rings and you know, your staff pick up the phone, and it's quite simple because that client or that end user has made their own decision that they want to get into a different strategy.
So you have a more committed client. You have people that are self-motivated and wanting to do things, and I think that's critical, I think, for any business, but especially even in education, different to school or university, where people are paying money to go to school or university predominantly for a piece of paper, for a degree. In our education, they're not doing it, you know, for a degree. They're doing it for the actual learning. Imagine if you went to uni to really learn. 80% of people go to uni, not going there to learn. People don't realize you can go to Harvard, you can go to all the universities now, do the same course online for free. Why do people pay $100,000, $200,000? They're paying it for that piece of paper because you can do it for free now. And that's the difference, is that education you want to learn. So people that want to do a modern day 20th century education, they're keen to learn. So they're self-motivated, as opposed to people that are doing it simply because they have to get a job.
So let's talk about staff, right? So you obviously, the people that are in your company, one, are fun. They're fun, they're funky, they're passionate. They sort of, it's definitely not a corporate environment where everyone's suited and uncomfortable. You actually give a lot of your staff the freedom to create and build, and you know, many of them are doing the strategies as well. So how important is having that cultural fit? Yeah,
I think it's very good. I mean, one thing I've learned off Sir Richard Branson, I mean, Virgin's very big on a culture. They hire mainly based on culture. And it's not easy. I've made a lot of mistakes early days, like most entrepreneurs do. You know, you understand recruiting the wrong person is more damaging to a company than possibly anything. And if you're an entrepreneur out there wanting to start a business, you have to be aware of that. My earliest mentor, my millionaire mentor, said, Jamie, be quick to fire and slow to hire.
Yeah, that's good.
And I never quite ever understood that.
Quick to hire, and slow to fire.
And he also said the same with relationships, which I thought was funny. But the point being is that you really have to be careful about who you hire. And we hire 90% on culture. Are they going to fit into the culture? Are they going to have fun? Are they people that have energy and passion and love what they do? Do they believe in the cause? Because if they don't, if it's just a job, there's plenty of other companies that can go work for and just be a job. This is a life. This is a passion. We want people to love their work. And I believe in what Richard does as well. There should be not this distinct line between work and play. Virgin's very big on throwing a lot of parties and creating an atmosphere where people love it. And one of the first lessons and pieces of advice that Richard gave me was, Jamie, throw more parties. And anyone knows in 20th century companies, we have a lot of parties, we have a lot of celebration. You know, we should celebrate life. And that's what we do, is constantly celebrate the rewards, etc., and enjoy that with the team. Richard said, you know, there's nothing more powerful than to get a new team together, send them out, have a night where they have some drinks together, etc. The bonding you'll get out of that cements this core team. And then they'll work together because they'll become friends. And people spend most of their life at work. Wouldn't it be good they spend it with friends and they spend it with people they enjoy being around? So that can transform a company. We also are flexible, as you mentioned, about people working from home. I know the CEO of Yahoo has just come out and changed that rule for Yahoo because I think it was being taken advantage of, making everyone now have to work from the office. But you know, it works for some people. If people are able to prove themselves working from home, they don't always need to be in the office. And we have many managers that don't work from the office, and even staff members, where others, there's not a hope in hell we'd let them work from home because they're sort of people that need to be more supervised. Or their role requires them to be there. So it's not a rule that fits everyone, but I think if you give people they can have their lifestyle while working for a company, a lot of people think, I've got to make enough money to retire one day so I don't quit my job because I hate my job. Life's not like that. You should always be able to do something you enjoy. If you can have your lifestyle while still working for a company or running your business within a company, then you don't have to wait till you can retire one day. You can start living and enjoying your life today while you still work for that company. So having that flexibility, whether you go on contract, etc., really enables staff to achieve their goals whilst working within your organisation. They're less likely to leave. And staff leaving means you have to replace them, it's costly. So retaining quality staff helps if you have an environment that they can't get anywhere else. Because we've had many people might have left the company, they come back. Because they find that other corporations just don't have that heart and soul. They're not a family and they don't care about them like 21st Century does.
Well, you definitely do, from my personal experience, you definitely do treat the company as a family. Obviously, you are a businessman and the CEO of the company, so there is obviously that line you need to draw. However, you know, for some of you that don't know, 21st Century Adventure Travel, you've been able to take, you know, performance-based bonuses for staff, which in some cases, you know, you've taken staff to Antarctica, you travel around the world. So let's talk about how you know, come up with these creative ideas, these innovations through, you know, your travel experiences.
Yeah, I think what's important is obviously people like to do something different. People like adventure. But I've always set up, even before I became a millionaire, I said I'm going to take regular holidays. I didn't want to live this life where you work 5 days and you have 2 days off. You work 48 weeks a year and have 4 weeks off. You can't live a life like that. I mean, life is precious and you should enjoy your life. So I set out to, even before I was wealthy, to take regular mini breaks. And my friend Tim Ferriss, 4 Hour Work Week, which has become an international bestseller, and Tim agrees with this and become famous for making it quite a well-known concept of the idea of mini breaks. That's the way we want in the 21st century. You know, most people 9 to 5, 5 days a week, 48 weeks a year. That is an industrialization concept out of the 19th century. That's how it used to be. People were in the 21st century, we need to update our working relationship with our employees for 21st century, which requires a lot more flexibility and time off. So I think we work well in 90-day time frames. So I like to focus for 90 days and I might go away for a holiday or something like that and have a break. I also find when I'm having holidays, whether they're adventurous holidays, whether it's going to Antarctica or climbing Machu Picchu or discovering India or China or the depths of Siberia or, you know, an African safari, there's such many amazing places on the planet that you can't help but stimulate your creativity.
Yeah, exactly.
And I often joke to some of my team, look, I'm going away. You think they'd be happy when I'm away out of the office. But they know if I'm on a holiday, they're going to get all these emails because I get so creative with new ideas that they're going to have to implement. But you know, I work on my life and on my companies. A lot of people get stuck working in their business and they don't get that external view or they're not enjoying their life when the best ideas for starting new companies or improved products or services or whatever has come from me being on holidays. In fact, if I didn't go on the holidays, I wouldn't be as wealthy as I am. So I guess if people understand going on regular holidays can actually be a tool to help you increase your wealth dramatically, people would look at it differently.
Oh, that's a very good point. So in summary, for the 2 best tips is be quick to fire, slow to hire.
Yes, that's important.
And take regular breaks so you can be inspired more. So we'll be back after the commercial break. More with Jamie McIntyre on business ownership.
Welcome to 21st Century Business Academy. We're going to have a fantastic 4 days. These next 4 days could possibly, I'm not going to say could, the next 4 days will change your life.
This gentleman actually owned a bank. She's going to talk about social media and also outsourcing, and a passionate, and I do mean passionate, public speaker. He makes money for his clients. Ladies and gentlemen, please be on your feet, do some exercise, dance, pop your fingers, stop the floor. Jamie McIntyre, Simon Scott, Justin Harrell, Stephen Molnar, Warren Black, Curran Ray, Lou Harty, Armand Moran, Laurel Langmeyer, Kate Engler is in the house.
So the first rule in business is you must add value to society in some way. Old school is just make a profit, who cares if it adds value? New school is predominantly social mission. You should be going out in the world saying, how can I change the world and make it a better place? That's where you should start with your business ideas.
This is just awesome. I mean, if you can start thinking about what you could do in your business if you had all of this data on your customers and the ability to talk to not only your customers directly, because you get their email address, but all of their friends. Like, wow.
Listen to what they want, go and get it, and give it to them. How simple is that for business?
I think that small businesses are the backbone of our great country. You know, there's nothing more courageous than having a yearning in your entrepreneurial knowing and taking your credit card in one hand and your bollocks in the other and reaching forward, stepping forward to break your dream a reality.
I'm going to show you some things about the internet that may almost seem impossible. In fact, many of the things that you need to know about the internet is so simplistic, anyone can do them.
So here's some statistics around what's happening online every 60 seconds. Every 60 seconds, 13,000 apps are downloaded.
Let's look at some business models that are built on free. 7 lessons we learned from Richard Branson. 10 lessons we can learn off Steve Jobs.
Don't ever assume anymore that your personal brand and your business brand are separated. Online, there is no line. Whatever you do in your personal life, people are going to assume you do in business.
And if you ask the average Australian, they think that to become wealthy, you have to be what? Lucky. Win lotto or be lucky. Jot this down. Bullshit.
I love doing this. I love teaching people to make money. It's a gift. I can see money everywhere. I see it at your feet. I just say, bend over, pick it up. And you say, I don't see any money. Right? So my gift is to show you there's money everywhere for everybody. But if you can't see it, you can't pick it up.
I've heard a lot of people say you can't build your wealth and build your lifestyle simultaneously. But I'm here to share with you that that's not true.
Finance is the answer. So whatever you want to do, would you agree that you need finance in your personal life, your business, for your retirement, everything? Your understanding of finance is key to you getting to the end result. You can apply the law strategically or literally. There's a law, of course there's a tax law, but if I know everything about your life over here, I can apply it strategically. Does that make sense? It's not rocket science.
You see, I'm all about this. I'm all about this psychology, golf, belief systems, financial literacy. You know, why teach a kid how to get a job when you can teach them how to be an entrepreneur? Who agrees with me, by the way?
You can aim at nothing, you hit it every day. So you've got to have something to aim at. I'm a very big believer, if you're going to have goals, they've got to be tangible goals. Got to be stuff you can touch. Not, I want to become successful. What's that? I know successful people who've got no money in the bank.
It's about holistic balance. Relationships, works, finances, health. It is everything. You can't just be great at one thing and every other aspect just turns to crap. It's got to be holistic.
No one has to believe in your dream. Why? It's not theirs, it's yours. Your future is not in someone else's hands, it's in your hands. You're only responsible for your finances, you're only responsible for your future, you're only responsible for your education, you're only responsible for your health, you're only responsible for your relationship. It's not your partner, it's you.
Right now is the time to change, to do something different. Because a lot of people will say someday I'll take the action that'll make my dreams come true, or someday I'll jump into the career path of my dreams, but someday never comes. Later never comes. The only time that you have is right here in your moment of power.
You have a skill set or you have a passion. Start talking about it. Who cares if you're not good at it? How are you going to get good at something? Unless you start.
Hi, Lou Harty joined back at 21st Century TV with Jamie McIntyre. So what we're going to talk about now is 21st Century Platinum Club. So Jamie, I've got a photo of you here at your home on the Gold Coast. So, you know, I don't know of many entrepreneurs that would actually open your house up for this style of education or this style of this weekend work. So tell us about that.
Yeah, what we do is, and it's an idea I got off Tony Robbins many years ago, we have what we call as a Platinum Club, where our top tier clients that are very committed can be part of this. I guess it's a mastermind where 3-4 times a year we catch up, and whether it's overseas on a holiday where we not only have education, but it's mainly networking and enjoying the life that 21st Century teaches people to do. So one of the events we had recently, which was only a couple of weeks ago, was at my house. I live half the time on the Gold Coast. So we had like a 2-hour workshop. I gave them an economic update of what's happening in the world, and just sharing the things I think are very critical to help them tend to improve what they're doing. And these clients are clients that are doing a lot of the strategy. So they're the most committed. They're out there really making things happen, and they're transforming their lives. And then we spent the afternoon on my boat sailing around the Gold Coast. So we do different things like this, really chance to have more one-to-one time, so I can answer some questions and get to know a lot of the Platinum clients, and we have a great time. And then we're off to Queenstown, New Zealand in July with Platinum members for 4 or 5 days. We'll do a couple of days workshopping. I'll bring in different speakers to share with them, and then the rest of the time we're having fun. We're skiing the slopes or out at restaurants and really bonding and enjoying life. And then we're planning a 3-day cruise out of Australia later in the year. And of course Antarctica we're planning to go back to in the next year or two, where we went a couple of years ago. We'll be about 35-40 of us, and that will just be amazing. Many people never get the chance to go to places like that, which I know you went on the last trip. and it's just an amazing life experience. So we're really helping people enjoy life, but learn in the process and be part of a powerful peer group. And I think putting yourself, immersing yourself with people that are playing the game of life at a higher level will raise your standards. Remember at school, we always taught our parents that be careful who we hang around. But as adults, often we forget that. It's who you hang around, it's who you become.
Oh, it makes a massive difference who you hang around. Like you said, like we went off to Antarctica, you took us to the Caribbean on a like the world's biggest luxurious cruise. And even some of our clients that wanted that one-on-one. Imagine what that one-on-one with Jamie, how much that's changed his life as an accountant. So there's
there's amazing success stories where people out of being just in a work, in a platinum group, where they might share ideas with each other or start a business out of it. People made millions and millions of dollars as a result of being in that peer group. Because it's just very powerful. Proximity is power, as you could say. And that's what I've continually done, how I've got to where I continually immerse myself and associate with people playing the game at a higher level. Whether many years ago getting to meet Richard Branson, bringing Arnold Schwarzenegger out. I network and I've met over half a dozen billionaires. So that's raised my game. So I continually immerse myself with people that I want to learn from. And I think it's something that everyone can do.
So if you want more information on that, you can just go to 21st Century TV, particularly about our platinum and our next trips. We'd love to have you on there. They are phenomenal trips. So we're going to wrap up shortly, but I've just got a couple of questions for you, Jamie. What advice would you give to new business owners or people who are looking at starting their own business?
Well, yeah, it's good. There's a lot of advice that I could give. I mean, I teach a whole 3-day program on this, but there's a few things. You want to model success. So before you start a business, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. So this is what most people do. They go out and they fall in love with their product and they create this great product. They never bother to test, does the market want your product? You want to find the market first, then you create the product for the market. So you do it in reverse, because then there's already demand for your product. You also need to test and measure on a small scale. Don't reinvent the wheel. Anything you want to do has probably already been done before, or there's something similar. Go onto Google, search it, find a website, a company, something similar, and use that as a model. Because if they've got it to work, then you need to say, how can I make this wheel, this model, that much better? Rather than cutting out a new wheel, start with something that exists and make it better. That's how society evolves. So that is the key that you do. I know, and people come to me all the time, will my business idea work? I say, well, have you found a model? Is someone else doing it? And they're afraid if someone else is doing it. So that's not an issue. If someone else has done it and improving. I'll give you a quick example. My former CEO, after he finished up working with 21st Century, he come to me with a startup internet company. He said, there's this company, and this is quite a few, probably 3-4 years ago now. There's this company in America called Groupon. Now, everyone now has heard of Groupon with the daily deal sites, but back then, no one ever heard of it except for in America. He said, they're doing these amazing things. They're one of the fastest growing companies in the history of the world. I'm going to start a similar one in Australia, and I'm raising money. Okay, he offered me, I think 10% of the company for $500,000. And I gave him some ideas. I'd change this, I'd do this, I think it'll work. And he went out there and he built this. 24 months later, he turned that company into a $300 million company and sold it to the second largest deal site in the world. In 24 months. And this is not the first time he's done that. So people say, well, how did you create a company? Well, first of all, he followed what we taught. He modeled. He already had a model. Now, how did he raise investor money? Easy. He had a model of a proven company in America that had already proven it. I was interviewed, another example, on Russian TV last year. And so what they wanted to know, I said, Jamie, what businesses would you start if you were in Russia, or this is in Siberia? And what advice would you give to people? And they're very hungry in these countries, in India, etc., about education. I said, here's what I would do. I would go to America or study America and find businesses that work there. Same thing's been done in Australia. I said, there's an example in Australia. These guys went to America and they went into a store called Home Depot. And it was this big hardware store. They got the idea and thought, wow, this works in America, would it work in Australia? And they come back to Australia and they obviously couldn't call it Home Depot because you can't rip off the name, but they called it Bunnings. And we all know in Australia how successful is Bunnings. A multi-billion-dollar company is a simple idea that was already proven in America. They started here, and now you see Masters, is another one which is copying that. I said, that's what I would do, go and see that. And I found out by doing some research, someone's done it even in Siberia. It's called Doma. They went and modeled Home Depot, brought it to Siberia, and it's called Doma, and here's huge, gigantic hoe. So it's not that complicated to be successful in business. You just need a model and make it that much better.
Yeah, so, and test and measure it. Because you know that even some of your own clients, they've gone, Jamie, I've spent the last 2 years building this thing. When should I launch? And you think, oh my goodness, you may have spent your last 2 years creating something that may
It's
be
not
a
going to
flop.
work. So yeah, we never launch something unless we test it first on a small scale. Put little money, time and effort into it. We want to test whether it'll work. And having a model is one way it's proven to work if someone else has already done it. So yeah, you've got to test. What happens, what stops from a psychology viewpoint, people are like afraid that what if it doesn't work? So they keep putting off subconscious that when actually going to live and making something, when I think Google bought YouTube, I think it was, and when they took over that, they said they changed it. So we're not waiting to perfection. We want you to test, launch products now, and then we'll figure out the issues, the bugs, etc. in it. Because they forced them to start taking more action, because it's only out of launching. I mean, there'd be no iPhone 5 if they never launched with an iPhone 1. Does it make sense? Sure, the iPhone 5 is better than the iPhone 1, but we only got to there because they launched. It wasn't perfect, but they launched and then they improve on that. That's how society works. So if we keep waiting for perfection, you'll be waiting a very long time. You'll miss the boat. So
what has been your greatest experience to date?
Well, that's the greatest experience to date. That's a very good question.
Apart when you first met me a few years ago.
Of course, meeting amazing people like you, Lou. I think perhaps being born was a pretty good experience, but I don't remember that. I'm not really sure. I've had so many wonderful experiences. I've met amazing people. For me, travel, especially growing up, to travel overseas and see such amazing places, I was always best of class in geography. I wanted to see the world. So some of those experiences I think were great. Outside of that, spending time with family and friends on the farm. I mean, I feel very at home on the farm where I grew up. All my family is still there. So I would probably put, growing up on the farm, playing rugby league. There's some great experiences from that where you're part of a team, mateship, winning. That'd probably be some of the greater experiences of my life. But even saying that I had a lot of success in business, and that's been wonderful as well. And I'm very proud of what I've achieved. But yeah, I just, I think family and friends and just being, at peace, those things were amazing. Yeah,
you seem very relaxed and content. So you're obviously comfortable with how everything's rolling out. So
well, I think growing up on a farm has helped out a lot. I mean, I have a rule. I go to the farm every 2 months. Flying there tomorrow, actually. One, because if we give you an example, how many people, unfortunately, when their parents die, pass away, they go, I wish I'd spent more time with them. And they live their life like that. I don't live like that. I don't live my life on my terms. I'm going to appreciate the people in my life while they're alive, because I don't know what it's going to be. It's, life is not, forever. So really enjoying that and being grounded. I go to the farm and I can just be grounded. No emails. Escape from and get out on the muck around on my big Tonka toys, the dozers or quad bikes, and just enjoy life and be present, the fresh air, etc. And I think if you have that grounding, because the more successful you become, so there's two different skill sets. One, to be successful, but when you're successful in business, etc., to maintain success is a different skill set. Excuse me. So I think you have to remain grounded. You've seen a lot of people that have become successful and lost their perspective where they've come from, and they lose it. They lose their wealth. They end up getting themselves into trouble, whether it's drugs, alcohol addictions, and they get off track. And that's because they're not remaining grounded, not remaining true to themselves. So there's a lot of distractions. Look at one of my favourite football fans, Benny Barber, NRL. Won the best football of the year last year, and then he's off track a little bit this year, and he's been stood down for 6 months for alcohol issues and gambling. It's because he's lost perspective on where he's come from. Instead of being excited and wow, I've achieved so much, and this has been my dream since childhood, to be living what I'm doing and staying grounded and having family is most important, getting caught up in too much partying, too many drugs, that sort of scene, and it can become a distraction. Until he gets himself grounded again, he won't get back to enjoying. He just doesn't want to play football at the moment because he's lost sight of his dream. He's forgot how good he's got. And that's a downside of, quote, success. And I think it's critical to remain grounded and true to yourself. Otherwise, there is the dangers that lurking. And we've seen many people go off the rails from success.
And like you said, being grounded and the way that you can, if you've lost yourself, and you feel your life's going out of spiraling out of control, then, simple techniques by even just going back into nature, going back to the beach, and you go home to the farm every couple of months. Reconnecting with your roots is critical in having that holistic balance.
Yeah, and adding to that, I wake up every morning and I teach this to my clients is that I focus on 5 things they can be grateful for. It doesn't matter how many challenges, it doesn't matter how successful you are in business, whatever, there's always going to be challenges in your life. It's perspective. And by focusing on 5 things I'm grateful for every day, it keeps me, I'm truly grateful, even for my challenges and my problems or things that I don't want to be happening. I'm just so grateful. This 20 years ago would have been a dream to have these challenges. So
that's a good point. 5 things you're grateful for every morning. So the last question, Jamie, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Good question. My mum is probably convinced by now that I'm never going to grow up. I just turned 40 a few months ago. So, I was hoping by now I would have grown up. But now I'm really a big kid. And I hope that I never actually grow up.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I hope you actually
to be honest. But, I have big ambitions. I'm naturally driven because, as I said, my 2 purposes at this stage in my life is to transform the world's education system. That is a long-term project. But I know if I can achieve, at least be the catalyst to help change that worldwide, you leave behind a very big legacy. The other part I'm very passionate about is changing the world's political systems because I think the power should be back in the hands of the voters, like democracy was based upon, where at the moment it's abused, it's taken advantage of, and that's simply not right. And we can improve our country, we can improve the world dramatically by having more honest, transparent political reforms. So they're long-term projects. It's going to take 10, 20, 30 years, but I'm young, I'm healthy, and that's why I'm building my wealth, because money, I believe, money's a tool to serve, and having a lot more money gives you power to have influence and the ability to create positive change, and that's certainly my agenda.
Very good. That was very, very well presented. I actually like that because I was actually waiting for you to tell us that when you grew up you wanted to swing off the highest trapeze or do a karaoke show.
Well, I have friends such as Nick Halleck that want to go to the moon and things like that, and which I admire. I'm into adventure, but it's not like to climb Mount Everest. Those things don't really inspire me as much. And certainly have a lot of fun goals and things like that. But for me, I base my success on not monetary success. I base it on what difference do I make. So for me, I'll be restless if I'm not continually progressing towards a worthwhile dream of making a positive difference in the world. If I'm doing that, I'm at peace and I'm happy.
So one other thing, does the farmer want a wife?
Well, it's true. A lot of people don't realise I'm a farmer. I have been married once before. I've been separated now for 9 years, but I don't have children. But I grew up with a big family surrounded by lots of children. So yes, this farmer does want a wife at some point. But and my mum, every time I go home to see my mum, I'm getting pressure. When are you going to have kids? I'm like, Mum, don't you have enough grandkids already? I'm only young. There's no rush. So yeah, there's no panic. I mean, I have a blessed life. I meet amazing people, and I look forward to when I'm ready to have some children and meet the right woman. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
So there you go. All right, Jamie, thanks again for joining us.
You're welcome.
It was great chatting to you today. So if you want more information or you want to download some of Jamie's books, you can visit 21st Century TV. If you want to see other episodes and future episodes, news, views and personal views, visit 21st Century. I'm Lou Harty. Thanks for joining us.
The more you surround yourself with people that can kind of, reinforce what you're doing, and you're seeing people that are getting results, and you're sharing information, that, sharing your networks, eventually you become successful. So you have to increase your level of awareness to an extent that you become wealthy. That's what it is. Wealthy people just have the ability to ask better value questions. But I also want to motivate you guys to take action towards financial freedom. Would I personally consider investing in your property? That's a very important question, because ultimately what it comes down to is the #1 question: would I buy this developer myself? And if the answer is no, I just don't source it.
Conrad here from 21st Century Property Direct. I'm really excited today. We're going on the Express bus trip. We're taking a number of investors all around Melbourne, showing them blue chip properties. It's very exciting because they'll get to walk on site, they'll get to interact with developers, builders, and we're going to do live due diligence on the street in Melbourne today with agents, with developers. So very exciting day. The weather couldn't be better, so I'm really excited and I hope to see you there as well. If you really want to fast track things, you actually need to balance your portfolio between growth properties and cash flow positive properties. Live commentary about the different suburbs that we're going through and how they've evolved and some of the challenges of the suburbs, I guess, and some of the benefits and unique features of some of the suburbs as we're driving through. So you're going to get a lot of education.
So it's very important that you always think, before you get into anything, what is my exit strategy? And as Conrad said earlier on, it's not the property that makes the mistake, it's the person that makes the mistake. And we want to get properties that are, you know, the exact right properties that will reduce any sort of problems you'll have in case something happens and your situation changes.
This is the project that we've got in Melbourne. So we've got the lot in 7 Brighton Streets in Kilda, and this is not the planned development. And we'll pull up right in front of it. It's just on the corner of, you know, your town hall's across the road, next to the park, walking distance to everything. I mean, it's just a premium location. Tram stops in front of the property straight to the city. You want to go fast. Because if you want to take 10 years to do this, then you'll get there. But if you want to fast track it, you've got to do growth properties, actively change them to maximise the income, and then the income will become passive. Then we're going to go to a very interesting development where we have townhouses right on the golf estate on the green. You know, there's not a lot of golfing estates in Melbourne with properties right on the green. And these townhouses that we've got here, they're about $350,000.
Hi, my name is Varun Patanala. I am a property direct consultant and we're right now at Madison Gardens. We're at the golf course here. It's been here for quite some time now, but they're developing a brand new estate called Madison Gardens shortly. So over the next 6 months, we're going to see great townhouses develop, some of them right on the greens, amazing rents. It's going to be great.